Hi, I'm Kat.
And I'm Gabe.
No, that's not true.
Yes,
we are possessed by each other. I'm kidding. Hi, I'm Gabe.
Hi, I'm Kat.
And we're the Ghouls next door. Well, welcome to our podcast.
Yeah, hi. What's up? Welcome to my living room.
To our living room. It does not have windows. Which is good, because people can't be peeking on us.
We're trapped in here together.
We're gonna die. Yeah, so this is a podcast. It is a horror podcast where we talk about scary stuff and why they ain't so scary, or if they really are scary, and like why that's still cool.
And why that's
what's up with it, you know?
I want to say words about. I want to listen to the words that are about the things and the scaries.
And today, talk about something.
What are we gonna talk about, Gabe? Tell them.
Okay, tell them. I feel like you're a little hostile. You're a little different. I feel like you're behaving a little strange.
I'm just being 6 people in one.
We already did split, so
it's not the same. I can have demons.
Yeah, it's 6 demons.
Well, yeah, it's not first time.
And 1 person.
Yeah.
You said 6 people. Demons aren't people.
Whatever.
Don't try to advocate for demon rights.
Too.
They're not unacceptable.
You don't know.
Today we're going to talk about exorcisms, Kat. We're going to talk about some tragic real history, because it's real. It's even today. It's happening. It's out there.
I'm signed up.
We watched 2 films.
Yes.
For the purpose of the podcast. We've seen many exorcisms, at least I have.
Also truth.
But we watched 2 specifically, and I'm glad we picked them.
Yeah, they were good.
Neither one of them is the original The Exorcist, which I think is very important. Because we watch a lot of classics, which is great, and I love it, but I really didn't want to fucking watch it. Yeah, I mean, it was good. It's definitely good for its time. I just didn't feel like it was going to be good.
When you watch it, I think it's funny.
I just think of Scary Movie 2.
Yeah, I do think it's Scary Movie. It was all the vomiting.
Yeah, and she just pisses on the floor for like 5 minutes straight.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about, demons.
Yeah.
The possession of bodies by demons. We're going to see if we, at the end, believe in exorcisms, what they really mean, what we've learned,
yeah,
how we feel. And I did want to just kind of at the top, just because it is I feel like out of all the things, like everything we talk about has a serious note. There are serious implications. There's ghosts that are, real or not, but people believe in them. People who suffer from sleeping disorders. We've encountered, several phobias. And even like with the witches, like that's a real life historic event. But with exorcisms, this is something that's still happening and is still very real to a lot of people. And I mean, honestly, it could be real. Demons could be real. And so I just kind of want to say that none of the things that we say are harmful to people who have undergone this kind of treatment and these issues. And we are going to spend a lot of time, discussing some of the negative impacts and kind of what it does to a person, and then also like the mental illness portion. But I just want to say, I mean, we have fun here.
Yeah.
And we're going to have fun, but it's all in good jest, and it's, we're not trying to poke at anybody and hurt anyone. I mean, how are you? Are you okay?
Exercised. Whoa. Please call us. I want to really hear about it, because honestly, when you were like, let's talk about exorcism, and I was like, yeah, that's not a big thing. That'll be an easy episode. And then I was reading everything online. I was like, wait a minute, no. Do I believe in this now? I don't know. I doubt by everything I read, that. So and hearing all the recorded of real fucking people being like that, I think made it different for me.
It's a movie.
Scary movie. It's it's a movie, and then also it's when you're hearing about paranormal stuff, I feel like there's always some way to debunk it, but there's certain elements of it that it's just really hard to wrap your mind around.
Yeah, definitely. So. And yeah, I mean, if you want to go into kind of your personal feelings about exorcisms and
well, I mean, just the stuff I read after seeing the movies, even it just freaked me out. To see one, I've never enjoyed the whole contorting bodies thing. In every scary movie, it exists. Even if it's not even for exorcism based stuff, if it's Unborn and that lady is upside down, just when you're a human that looks not human, I get freaked the fuck out. It just makes me so uncomfortable and so nervous. But especially the fact that that's an element of the exorcism, like they're breaking their own fingers, and they're like, their bodies are contorting all crazy and weird, and it's like, it's just scary. It's a scary thing for me. I don't know. I don't understand how people can do that if they're not actually having something happen to them.
Well, they are having something happen to them.
I know.
It's just a matter of what is it that's happening to them, what's causing it.
Yeah. And that, like, reading, there's, like, a difference between, like, within the church and everything, between mental illness and demonic possession, and, like, reading those differences. The biggest thing being, like, one is triggered by prayer, and the other is just, like, you're just crazy. It's like, that's how you can tell. If you start to say the prayer and they freak out, that's, like, what they wrote on the website that I read.
Yeah, but I think, like, if you are a religious person and you're crazy and you think that you're possessed, prayers are going to trigger you.
Yeah, no, that's real.
Like, you're not going to have a rando who doesn't, like, just has never had any religious upbringing who's crazy and gets triggered by prayers. If they get triggered by prayers, I think I'd be more inclined to be like, whoa.
Yeah, like,
but it's not like
done that.
People don't know what prayers are, you know? And, like, even people who aren't religious might, when you're suffering delusions and things, who's to say you're not, like, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
You're susceptible. Your mind is, you know, being pressured by that.
Yeah. But it freaks me out. I don't know. Like, very not superstitious, and I usually don't believe in that kind of stuff, but this kind of, like, freaked me out a little bit. I'm like, not that I think I'm gonna go be possessed by anything. The level to which, like, it exists was surprising to me. Like, the level of people that think they're possessed by the devil or demons or what have you. It's like the number is very large, and it's like cross cultures.
Yeah.
And there's like tons and tons and tons and tons of research and data around it, which is like weird because usually when you think religion, you don't always think facts and like data and like that kind of stuff. It kind of makes it seem more scientific, which is weird.
Yeah, I feel like, you know,
as a skeptic of religious things.
Yeah, I think like the Catholic Church, you know, had to learn how to hang. You know, like, it had to keep up. And, because, like, yeah. I mean, and we'll talk about it when we talk about the Exorcism Emily Rose. Kind of how there has to be, like, doctors now. But
makes people die. It's like a thing.
People die.
So, the director of the original Exorcist, William Friedkin, was the director of the original Exorcist movie that was in 1973. But he had never actually witnessed an exorcism. And like in a more recent film that's coming out actually this April about kind of like modern day exorcism, and this one specific priest, Father Gabriel Armorth, basically he was a Vatican exorcist, recently died in 2011 or I think 2016, right after completing his like final exorcist of an Italian woman. But yeah, there's a documentary coming out, and it's called The Devil of Father Amorth, which will be released April 20th. But essentially, the director of the original Exorcist witnessed his first exorcism with this guy. And that's like why it's relevant. And he actually, you know, really recently died in September 2016 at 91. Which is like really old, especially for someone who's like fucking with the devil all the time.
Yeah.
Like you think he would like aim for him by now.
Yeah. Wonder if God's like, hey, how's it going?
Doing me a solid.
How are you doing down there? Cleaning up my messes. Helping out my kids. Yeah, I didn't really watch The Exorcist growing up. I hadn't seen it until later in life.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't see it till later in life. And I don't know, like I didn't really watch Exorcist movies.
That's surprising since you were so religious.
I think that's why. Like my family doesn't like them, and like that's like one of the ones that scares my aunt to like this day. Like she doesn't like them. And I remember
stigma. Yeah,
and it's just like it's real to them. Like me and you, like whether or not like we believe is something that's kind of like we're facing now, but they just have this very real belief in like angels and demons. So that's a very real possibility.
Yeah, and kind of seeing it, or even like seeing it in like a mocking sense is almost insulting, I guess.
Yeah, not even
like film is like, even if it's not intentionally, kind of, it's like presenting something.
Yeah.
It's like sacred.
I think it's just like, if you're afraid of spiders or something, you're not going to go and watch a spider movie.
Yeah.
Like, if you really believe that thing can hurt you and like it'd mess you up, like, you don't want to do that. And what is more terrifying to someone who like loves God than to be possessed by demons? Like, that's your whole thing. That's the whole fear. So, like, growing up, we didn't really watch any of those. I remember watching the Exorcism of Emily Rose, which we watched, and I couldn't remember it. It was like watching it for the first time over again. But I do remember having ordered it probably from like Netflix or something back when it was DVD form. But like I remember, and it was one of those times where like my family was like, "Oh God, Gabe got another like horror movie, and we all have to watch it with her, and we hate it." And this one was just like, I really think I watched this one like more or less by myself because no one was down for it. But being religious, like, exorcisms just kind of seemed like that's a thing that could happen. Because it's like, if miracles can happen, like if angels can come down and like save you and do good things for you, then what's to say that the opposite can't be happening? Yeah. And like, there's so much of growing up in a religious household where like when good things happen, that was a blessing and that was God. And when bad things happen, that was Satan. Like, that's just the way that it was, handed like to you. Like, that's the information. So to watch Exorcism movie, it was like very real. And I would say watching these two films, like, again, I realized that this is like honestly the first time we've really been scared. Like, I've been scared. Like, we watched The Nightmare. Yeah. I was afraid, and I get in those, like...
The last Exorcism, I was scared during that movie.
Yeah. Sure. It was, like, I think it's, like, legitimately, like, it's believable because there's this villain that's not something that, like, you really can fight. Yeah. Like, anything else, like, you have witches, or you have ghosts, you have... I don't know, whatever else we've talked, zombies. Yeah. Like, these are things that you can fight, and they seem, like, unrealistic. But then you have, like, an exorcism.
There's a physical form that you can, like, go against for the most part. And you can't really fight something that's inside of you, and you're not aware of it when it's present, kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's, like, it hurts you, like, in order to, like, win. Like, even when we're talking about nightmares and sleep paralysis, and you have those beings that you're kind of, like, subconsciously seeing, like, you have tactics to avoid them, and it is terrifying, but it still doesn't feel as finite as being possessed by demons. I'm not saying they're not terrifying and that's sleep, but when people wake up, they wake up, and you're fine. Like, these people wake up, and this is just their reality forever. And it was very good at pulling all those triggers, especially the last Exorcism.
Oh my God. She was an amazing actress. Like, she was so scary. Like, she went from, like, the sweetest thing you'd ever see in the history of life, just, like, super cute and sweet, to, oh my God, bitch, stop, get out of here. She was so scary. She was, like, cutting people. She was, like, climbing up on shit, like, being weirdly sexual. It was a blowing job. Oh my God, it was too much. She was breaking her own fingers. It was too much.
It was a lot.
She was so scary, and she went from like being like super non-threatening at all to like being absolutely terrifying. And I like how they kind of did that, where it was just like creepy things like anyone could do. Like, if you had like a kid. Like, your kid's cute, you love your kid's great. But if you wake up and they're standing in your fucking bedroom door, like, just staring at you like they want to murder you with their hands, like, then they're creepy now. So, like,
you gotta get rid of the whole kid.
To take, I guess, innocent things. Turn them into this awful, horrible thing that makes me never want to have children.
Charlie, stop trying to eat my Bible. Charlie's possessed. She's trying to eat my Bible.
You have to exorcise the cat?
The power of catnip compels you.
Now, tell me where the aliens done touched you. Show me on this doll. Why, Gabe?
Where's the baby sound, though? That's right, I swear to God. So let's talk about something at the screen of exorcism, just like, not just so much history, but just let's talk about it. Let's talk about what it is, how often it happens, what needs to happen in order for an exorcism to be called. So, exorcisms are a religious or spiritual practice of evicting demons or other spiritual entities from a person. Kind of like when you try to, like, ghost hunt your house. Yeah. And you put sage in it, and you're like, be gone, ghosts.
Yes.
Except they're in your body. And they're demons.
Yeah.
And that's worse. And then, with these spiritual beliefs comes an exorcism, and this may be done by causing the entity to swear an oath, performing an elaborate ritual, or simply by commanding it to depart in the name of a higher power. God, that guy. The practice has been around for a very long time. Like, even before witch hunts and, we had the Crusades. Religion's been here for a long-ass time.
Yeah.
So, again, the idea of there being angels and demons, there's going to be an idea that if angels can save you, demons can possess you. Like, that's just a thing. And it also kind of goes across different religions, too. Like, there's this idea of, like, being possessed by something and needing to evacuate it from a being. So there's, specifically with Catholicism, you gotta get the okay from the big guys upstairs. That's the Vatican. So they're the ones who sanction any exorcism. Like, you have to petition and be like, I got this kid who's really fucked up, and I want to exorcise him. And the Vatican's like, nah, bro, he's just sick.
Because they pray at him?
Yeah, did you pray at him?
What happened?
Did he get all twitchy? Is he allergic to nickel? And so he can't wear your crosses? But yeah, so there's guidelines to what you do to test someone to see if they're possessed. So if you ever see me acting weird, you can try some of these stuff and see if I'm possessed.
These stuff?
These stuffs. Test them. Test these stuffs on me. Number one, if you have to rule out all medical explanations first. I don't know to what degree you'll be satisfied. Like, I don't know if you, like, put your hand on someone's forehead and you're like, oh, they don't feel hot. Guess they're not sick.
Yeah.
But the explanation is just make sure you took them to the doctor and they weren't like, oh, this person, has schizophrenia. So if they're not schizophrenic or psycho-psychotic, as opposed to regular psychotic. A few things that you can look out for is someone speaking in unknown languages or languages that they wouldn't know, revealing things that are far away or hidden, like things that they wouldn't know about but can tell you about, demonstrating a physical strength, not conforming to one's age or health status, so that's like crazy strength, like when you have the adrenaline rush. But it's also like those things could honestly be, it's not exactly like ding, 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 check, this person is possessed. Maybe this person is just, is having a breakdown and they're really strong. Or maybe they're just really intuitive. So other signs are loss or lack of appetite, cutting, scratching, and biting of skin, a cold feeling in the room, unnatural bodily postures and change in the person's face and body, the possessed losing control of their normal personality. I mean, what is a normal personality?
Fuck if I know.
Mine's loud. Or entering into a frenzy or rage. Well, that's my normal personality. Attacking others, a change in a person's voice, supernatural physical strength, levitation and moving of objects. I think that would be a pretty big trigger.
Yeah, I mean, if I saw that, I'd be like, all right. This is an X-Men.
This is important. Intense hatred and violent reaction towards all religious objects or items. Antipathy towards entering a church, speaking Jesus' name, or hearing scripture. That's kind of like the number one thing.
Yeah.
Like you were saying.
Yeah.
Like you say a prayer at them and they're like, no, stop. They're either like agnostic and they're like, stop trying to shove your religion down my throat, or they're possessed.
Yeah.
It's one or the other. There's no in between. The Vatican, you send them this list. You're like, I tried all the things. I touched their forehead, and then I yelled a bunch of prayers at them, and they were still mad.
They changed the temperature of the room.
They changed it. They knew where my underwear was in the other room. Something that I found interesting was, given this process, you'd think, like, when you think of exorcisms, you think of, like, old times, right? You think, like, who's doing, like, no one's possessed these days because no one is as religious. Like, I mean, people are as religious, just not to the same. But there's actually been a spike in exorcisms since 2005. So in 2005, there was about 12 exorcists, like people who were deemed exorcists in the U.S. Just 12 people here who the Vatican were like, that person can go and exorcise you of your demons. Now, today, there are 50. So it's doubled. Yeah, it's like, it's more than doubled. So what happens that the Vatican was like, whoa, shit's going crazy in the U.S. You need more.
I mean, have you seen...
Send out the troops.
Have you seen what's going on in our country? I feel
but this is like since 2005, though. So it's like there's been a steady kind of influx in people getting crazy.
Yeah, and I was reading on, I don't know what Exorcist-based website this was, but it was like an exorcism news website. It was like Ireland was calling for more exorcists because there's just like such a heavy demand.
So small.
And this article was written like January 2018.
What?
Yeah.
Calling all exorcists.
It was literally like, we have too many possessed people and not enough exorcists.
Ireland, what are you doing over there?
Yeah, so that was like an article that was written last month. And there was another one.
You think they got like a gate to hell over there?
Who even knows? But all I'm saying is there was a call for exorcists in Ireland, and there's just been like, as you said, like an influx. And I don't know if it's like a revert back to like try and understand all the change in the world. They're like, oh, the women, they're not covering their ankles, so they're possessed, or like what's happening?
Yeah.
Like, which is it? Like, is it just a like strong reaction against kind of the modernization of everything, or is it?
But I do
people
think
are actually fucking nuts and they're possessed to shit and the devil's taking over Earth.
Well, in America, I feel like specifically we've had this kind of like backwardsness happening. Like we're moving backwards, where we're like revoking understanding that we had enlightenment, and now we're like, no. Let's go back to when we weren't enlightened. Like women,
there's been a lot about that.
Don't have like just things that had become basic, understanding of the world are now being reverted back. Like we have people who believe the Earth is flat. So it's like we're just having this like we've hit. Like we hit our like extension of like this is as far as human intelligence is going to go, and we bounced on it, and now we're like reverberating backwards.
It's true. I mean, honestly, maybe that's a part of it, because it really does seem like we've taken many steps forward, but now suddenly we're just taking a bunch back. It's scarier than there's just God and hell, and
it's scary to believe that there isn't God and hell.
Yeah, because then where do you go when you die? No one wants to believe that they just
here by ourselves, and
turn
that's
to dust
terrifying.
to go by. Yeah,
I think it was that people have been saying like y'all need Jesus for a few years, and people were like, "Wow, maybe you're right." And the Vatican was like, "Yo, I got you."
All I'm saying is, if we revert back too far, I'm just gonna be done. I'm not trying to stick around for if I have to be subservient to a man.
Would you rather be subservient to a man or a demon?
Oh God, I don't know. No one. I don't want to just be me.
No, you have to pick.
I'd rather be dead.
No, not allowed.
The Virgin Mary came to me and was like, "You want to just die, or you want to keep going?" I'll be like, "All right, bye, dead." Dead
yes,
is my choice.
Fuck all them. I don't care about any of them.
I would be way more scared to find out demons and shit were real, because I find it peaceful that like when I die, it's just done.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep going. Why is that what people want? I don't understand. It's scarier to me if there is an afterlife. I'd rather it just be done. I go to bed forever. There's no thoughts.
You've had this conversation before where you're like, well, what are we doing here?
Yeah, it's just stupid. I don't want demons to be real. I feel like that's a way scarier reality. I don't know why people find that a calmer and peaceful reality. I would love someone to explain it to me. I really would.
Tell us about what you learned about stuff.
Well, I learned that it's very prevalent now. That exorcisms are still so much of a thing. Like, they're calling for them all over the place. That's crazy to me. And that there's just, like, so many that exist now in the past, like the level to which exorcisms have existed in the world. It's crazy. They've used it to justify a lot of things, and it's like, it's shocking to me that there isn't more documentation on it. Like, that Annalise was, like, a big deal because she had them record the exorcism. If there's so many of those happening, why don't they all do that? Because if they want people to believe in it and they want it to be real or whatever, like, it's the whole thing.
Yeah, but it's out of respect for the victims. Not every victim can be Annalise.
That's true. I mean, not all of them die, though. A lot of people survive and they go on to live regular lives.
Yeah, regular lives where they don't keep reliving the fact that they felt that way.
Je m'appelle Demon.
He's speaking French?
Yeah, because it's a language. It's a different language I usually speak.
That's
as the Podest people do.
Okay. Whatever you say. I'm gonna upset the crazy lady. It's probably like bird or something in French. Like, didn't you say before, like, my name is? You fucking idiot. What kind of la bouche?
I mean, shut your mouth in French.
So the first thing we watched was The Last Exorcist. I really very much wanted to watch it because it affected me both times. Like, watching it this time too also messed me up.
So I'm happy you made us watch it.
Yeah, The Last Exorcism. The film follows a disillusioned evangelical minister who, after years of performing exorcisms, decides to participate in a documentary chronicling his last exorcism while exposing the fraud of his ministry. After receiving a letter from a farmer asking for help in driving out the devil, he meets the farmer's afflicted daughter. So I think out of both of the movies that we watched, they had a very interesting approach.
Yeah,
to storytelling.
Like documentary films. Like, it just makes it feel so much more real. Because I think documentaries are like, oh, that's of real stuff. That's a non-fiction thing. And it's like, it always just kind of makes it affect you more when it's talking about something like that, I think. It's smart to make it
and they were definitely good about it because it didn't feel like a shaky cam, like where they were overcompensating for the fact, like, this is a handy cam film. But it also still had, like, cinematographic art to it as well. Like, I never felt like I was watching someone's, like, shaky documentary film. But yeah, I feel like there wasn't any real dull moments. Like, even when they're just driving through, like, the town, like, because you're still, like, reeling from, like, the last thing that happened. Yeah. But both of these, like, approaches were very much like, we're not gonna just have, like, it could have very easily been a story like Insidious or, you know, something to that degree where it's just like, this is a film. Yeah. And it's a horror film and this is the kind of setup and whatever. These are, like, kind of refreshing in their approach to what exorcisms are, because it really, I think, painted the sensitivity of the subject while still being scary. Like, it managed to be scary with you still feeling, like, upset for the victim. Yeah. Like, they didn't use the victim as, like, a pawn to scare you. I mean, it did, but, like, you were still, like, understanding that this person was not in control of it. Yeah. And I thought that was really great. Yeah, they made them very human. It wasn't like they were trying to be, like, awful or anything. There was, like, so many elements to it. Both movies. Where it was, like, there was that psychological element. It was, like, what's making her act this way? And then you're, like, trying yourself to, like, rule out, is it psychosis or is it possession? Yeah. And I think that's, like, it was fun. Yeah, and try to figure out. Yeah, I think this in The Last Exorcism is really great. If it is scary. So for anyone who isn't into, like, kind of, I wouldn't say they have jump scares, but it is frightening. Yeah, it's more like it's uncomfortable. Like there's just parts where it's like jump scare plus uncomfortable. Yeah, and it's psychological. Yeah, and that's, like, what I really enjoyed about it was that I honestly throughout the film you don't know what you believe. And you're thrown back and forth because you're set up with this minister was raised in his ministry, and he was a kid like preacher, and he does the whole thing, and he's really charming and funny in how he's like, I could say anything. I can just start talking about my mama's banana bread recipe, but if I say it in the pastor voice, they believe you, and it's like, hallelujah, and the girl's like, I don't believe you, and he does it, and he's just like, and you get the eggs, and you got the 2 like overripe bananas, and you mash them, and they're like, hallelujah. And he's like, yep. And he just gives you this smile. Yeah, like, see, this is a shit. But at the same time, he's not this villain. Like, he's not, like, condemning religion. Yeah. He's using it.
He still, like, respects the belief. Yeah.
He's just like, I don't necessarily believe in this anymore. And this isn't a spoiler. It's, like, the first, like, 10 minutes. But spoiler alert anyway. You know how we roll. But he is kind of struggling with his faith, but he still values like the power of belief.
Yeah.
And thinks that you can really turn that. And so he has like, it's less like, oh, I'm this man of God and I'm preaching God's word. And he's like, I'm a good man who's trying to steer people in the right direction. Yeah. But he also doesn't believe in exorcisms because like people die and people are being abused. So this is a part of his religion that has a negative outcome that he's wanting to like skirt around. Mm-hmm. So this is why he goes on to this documentary trip of doing his last exorcism, which is where he shows all the tricks and trades of a magician that he is.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't believe, and you don't as a viewer, and then you do, and then you don't, and then you do. Yeah. And it's just so, and there's so many times where you're so certain, where you're like, okay, this is it. She's definitely fucked up. She is possessed. She's a demon. She's crazy, and she's lost it, and he's hopeless. And then she just says one word. And even now, like, I'm not 100% sure she was possessed. I think she was acting out because of what's happening around her.
Like sexual abuse and like isolation and what have you.
Yeah, like even if the ending, as absurd as it is real, like I still think that was her acting out and trying to tell him that stuff was happening.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great movie, and I mean, throughout you're just like trying to wrap logic around it instead of being like, yeah, she's possessed. Like, you want to be like, oh, it's because like her dad molested her or whatever. And then you're like, no, it was the coffee guy down the street or whatever. Or it's the brother. And like, you're just constantly, you finally come to like a conclusion.
Yeah,
she's
her
like,
mom died. She's
it's like blowing job. And you're like, oh, it's just her.
Yeah.
And then 5 seconds later, some other crazy shit happens. And you're like, oh, fuck, no.
And it's like, there was a lot of like facepalm moments where like someone said something or would do something that was in reaction to something else. So like when he was, putting on airs about the exorcism, and he describes this demon, and he says Abalam is in her, and the only way to get rid of him is either death or the exorcism. Like, that's the only way they'll find relief. And of course he just says that to be over dramatic. Yeah. And then of course her life is in danger because he said that.
She has to die.
Yeah, like you can't exorcise her. It's like you said. And it's like, that's the power of belief. Like, you thought you were wielding this like tool, and you can't just like fucking go around with it like that. Yeah. It's not an AR-15. But yeah, I think it was an interesting take. I think the documentary style was a great choice for it. And like you were saying, that the actress was amazing. She truly was great at being like this young, innocent child that you feel for. And they really wrote in those very delicate moments, like her getting the boots and being so, like they give her a pair of boots. They're Doc Martens. Yeah. Which is like so unlike her little like prairie girl, like religious self. But she has these boots and she's wearing them, and she's so like traumatized by what's happening to her. And then like it turns around and she's like crawling up the wall and like stabbing people.
Yeah, and like licking people and being like weird as shit. It was so weird. It was so upsetting. Like, I was just like, you were so... And then she came back, like, normal again. And I was like, it's hard for me to accept you in this form.
Yeah.
Because I just saw you do crazy shit, and I can't.
But you definitely still felt bad. Like,
yeah, like, she brought it back. Like, I was like, oh, God, you're still just, like, a little kid.
Yeah, and, like, I think having Cotton, who's the minister, having him constantly fighting for her, and he's like, no, we need to help her. Like, this is a delicate situation for her. Like, he's always he very much made it like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, and he was like, regardless of whether or not this is a real demon possession, and regardless of if this is her dad who's abusing her, or she's just a troubled girl, like any of that, it doesn't matter what the catalyst is. The problem is that she is being affected by something and we need to help her.
Yeah.
And so that was I think those scenes were written really well, and he was a really great protagonist.
And then, like, she wasn't the problem. Mm-hmm. That there was a cause, and, like, it was good.
Yeah.
I think, like, that's something that's missed a lot, and just in general with kids.
Yeah.
It's just, like, always, like, the kid's trouble. It's like, no. The kid is a
we get that a
person.
Lot. Yeah.
And they're going through something is affecting them to make them act the way that they do. And it's just like, it was good to see that in a movie about exorcism.
We also watched The Exorcism of Emily Rose, which is loosely based on a true story. Although, I mean, there was some pretty close
there's some
things.
Good, like, matches up between the reality and the fake. I was like, because we read all about Annalise
Michelle,
who was the, real victim of the whole exorcism situation, where she didn't get just one like Emily did. Mm-hmm. She got 60, I believe.
I thought she had 6. They both had 6.
6 demons, 60 exorcisms.
Oh, yeah.
Like 1 hour each, like for an extended period of time, and that's like why she was so malnourished and what have you.
There's a lot of reasons.
And what was really interesting, which is that they took to also in the Emily Rose, rendition, is that they had recordings of her being exorcised, and like you can hear those online.
Yeah,
they exist. Like we listen to them. It's like an hour and a half of just like her screaming in like different languages and saying like kind of scary, messed up stuff. It's recorded and like made it very much more real for me. Like hearing it, I guess, and like hearing what she was saying. Then hearing the, like, talking back and forth. I wish, like, and I think seeing the movie, like, kind of matched it together. Where it was like, oh, this was maybe what happened in the physical sense that she could have been doing, I don't know. It was creepy.
It's definitely based on a very real thing, which we heard, and was, I would say, a bit more raw. And, like, Emily Rose was scary and, like, exorcisty, but Annalise is primal and just out of this world. It's just unreal. So this film was also very unique in that what it's doing is it's following this woman who is a defense attorney who is trying to represent the priest who was committing these exorcisms for Emily Rose, who is now being accused by the state of negligent homicide. Because she ended up dying. And in real life, Annalise died as well. And of course, again, she had 60 exorcisms. And so there's a lot of similarities. They kind of definitely took her kind of overarching timeline.
Yeah.
But they definitely left out some stuff. Like, they didn't paint Emily as religious as Annalise. Even the audio tape, and again, like with her thing, like I felt like listening to the tapes, it was like someone being reduced to this like feral state.
Yeah,
like she sounded like an animal.
Very scary. Like it was to hear a person sound like that, like for such a long period of time. It really did. It made it more real for me, which is why I'm like all like weird and questioning myself of how I feel about exorcisms now, because I was like, that was scary, and that was a real human that made all those noises and said all those really scary words, and was probably like thrashing and like crazy looking, and probably did a lot of some of the, like the contorty things, because both of them, the character Emily Rose in the movie was diagnosed with epilepsy as well, and Annalise was also diagnosed with epilepsy, and there was that whole debate on how the medicine influenced like her symptoms and how she like handled her, I guess, demonic possession. The fact that there was both a medical element as well as a psychological element, and then also the religious piece. It was just really interesting, and it was crazy that it was a real story. That, like, I mean, I'm sure the elements of it are up for question. Was she really possessed? Who knows? But, like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think it definitely took an interesting turn in that it was a comparison of, like, scientific, which is what the state was trying to prove. Like, she had a mental illness. She had psycho-epilepsy, which is not a thing.
He was just like, did you just make up that term? He's like,
I can do that. I'm a doctor.
Well, I'm the one who made it, yeah. I was like,
yesterday.
You can't act like you know. Get out of here.
On the other side, you have the beliefs, but there's also even, like, the fact that those beliefs, like, I really enjoy the doctor, because this is kind of how I feel in regards to exorcism, is, like, regardless of whether or not demons exist, that person believes that they do. Yeah. And so that itself has control over your mind. Like, even if there is no such thing as demons and they do not exist, demons are in that person.
Yeah, so you have to free them of it, and they have to be open to be freed of it.
Yeah, and in order to do that, you have to do it the correct way. Like, you're not gonna, like, if someone has psycho-somatic, like, headaches or something, you know, you're not gonna fix those with aspirin.
Yeah.
Like, unless you tell them, like, oh, I am believing you in what your pain is, here's some aspirin. Yeah. And so I really enjoyed that there was, like, this kind of dichotomy where it was, like, the medicine was counteracting the exorcism, and the exorcism was counteracting the medicine, so it's like, which one was going to save her and which one didn't? Which one killed her? And that's, like, the question, and there really isn't an answer. Because, like, honestly, if she was, you know, epileptic and somehow that was causing these delusions, but it was, like, continuously fueled by her family and this priest, so she never really got a chance to get out of that and let her medicine heal her, then, of course, that's a problem. But also, if that wasn't the case, and it's all psychosomatic, and she is in her head possessed by the devil, and now she has this medicine that's also putting chemicals in her brain that now is not allowing her to combat it in the proper way. Like, it's not giving her control over her thoughts enough to fight it in the way that people think that they should be fought.
And it honestly seemed like it was very much like, because the epilepsy medicine wasn't helping her. Mm-hmm. Like, even in the Annalise situation, it was saying it didn't relieve her seizures and it made her psychosis worse. And the doctor did get convicted. Not the doctor, the priest did get convicted. But he didn't serve much jail time. I think it was, like, maybe 6 months. And then he was, like, just on probation.
And in the movie, he got time served. So my problem with exorcisms, in that I was complaining to God the entire film, was that, like, this person is unwell.
Yeah.
And again, regardless of whether or not there really are demons in them, that this person is neglecting them getting help. You know, like, like, he means well, and I don't think the guy in the movie is an evil person, and I don't know if the priest in real life who dealt with Annalise was a good person or not, because, I mean, he could have just been, you know, chasing his exorcism train, you know? The fact of the matter is, like, there just seems to be this lack of trying all the avenues.
Yeah.
Like, they just jump straight into, like, okay, we need to exorcise you. And it's like, after the 50th exorcism, like, I'll give you that, the 50th one, why isn't there, like, this, like, maybe we need to try something else?
Yeah.
Like, maybe she is unwell.
I know, but they started with the medical route. They didn't even go the exorcist route. Like, they took her on the medications, and they did all the doctor's visits, and they did, like, therapy, and it wasn't working. And then that's when, I don't know if it was Annalise who initiated that it was a religious issue instead, or if it was a mix between the parents and her that, pursued that. But, like, they started with the medical route. They went the science way first, and I think that's what makes it a little more interesting.
Well, I think, like, when it comes to any other, like, mental illness, generally, like, you have this route where you're checking medically. So you try certain things, you see this doctor, et cetera, that doesn't work. You go see a different doctor. You try a different medicine. Like, it's not, like, you can't be like, oh, I tried one epileptic pill and it didn't work for me. It made things worse. I guess that's not it. Any other kind of approach, like, you would be doing the 50 times, 60 times of going to a medical person, not this spiritual situation.
Well, it's tough, though, when they believed more in the spiritual thing. They were trying to try different things, but in their mind, they did everything that they could because they didn't trust the medical route as much as they trusted the spiritual route. So that's why they did the same thing, but just in the different end.
So. But, yeah, and I was comparing it to when you have cases like a mom who's crazy religious and has a psychotic break and then drowns her children because she thinks she's saving them and, like, sending them to God, like, she's no more wrong than the priests who commit exorcisms if, like, demons aren't real. It's just their belief that's saying something bad is happening and it results in a death. So, like, honestly, you're wrong. Like, if you're a doctor and you're giving someone these pills and it's killing them, you give them different pills. Like, if you're actively contributing to someone's death, you're wrong.
Yeah.
And it's tough because if demons are real, they got to her, and given her story and her understanding of it, they were just always going to be in there because she was sacrificing her body for everyone else.
For everyone else, yeah. And that was really interesting, too, is, like, that she saw herself as a savior. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if she has been recognized as a saint, but I remember, like, reading something along those lines.
I think so.
That, like, she sacrificed, like, her body and mind for, like, the greater good of people, for people to know that the devil was real and that demons are real. It was kind of like her wish was to get that message out, which is why she wanted the exorcisms recorded and, like, put out for people to listen to, which is interesting. I think it's another really interesting element of it. Is, like, she was like, I want people to know so that they believe. So, like, her belief was validated by getting other people to believe just by being, like, terrified of what they listened to, of her, like, guttural screams and, like, feral.
And she even requested noises. That, like, in the middle of, like, one of her states. Like, like, she's in her crazy voice saying, like, take those tapes and get them anywhere. And so it's, like, kind of this catch-22, because it's, like, is she saying that, or are the demons trying to get, like, message out? Because here's the thing, is, like, demons can't get in you if you don't believe in them. Yeah. They go for the people who believe.
Those people who are susceptible are the ones who believe.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, if the demons can convince them to go and start, publicizing about exorcisms and that demons are real, people now believe in it, and now there's more people that they can have. Yeah. This is if demons are real. But I thought it was really beautiful, her kind of, like, coping of it, and how she, like, saw the Virgin Mary, and Virgin Mary was like, I give you this choice where you can die now, and you'll be free. She said, I will take them out of you, and you'll be free, you'll be fine, you're totally going to be normal.
To your regular life.
Which is fine, and that's it, that's the end of the story. Or, they're going to stay in there forever, until you die, and that's, like, your struggle with them and, like, your pain and suffering with them will bring salvation to others, and that you are essentially, like, sacrificing your life to save these people.
Yeah, basically, like, very much Jesus died for our sins, and least died for your sins kind of thing. And I mean, to someone who's a devout religious person, I feel like that's, like, not a dream, but, like, it's like, that's an honor.
Yeah,
that's something, like, you're not going to turn down if that's, like, what you believe more than anything else.
Yeah, and it's definitely not, I wouldn't say a dream, but it's definitely, like, a coping mechanism. Like,
it's, like, something that's, like, makes her think it's worth it. It's okay.
Yeah, if she truly is just, like, having this mental breakdown that is fueled by her religious background, like, this is her out. Yeah. This is her way of dealing with the fact that she is too far. And I think it's kind of beautiful that she did believe that. Yeah. And the movie was really good. It does a really good job of, like, it wasn't, this is an exorcism movie. It was a trial that was talking about the validity of exorcisms, and also, like, that thing, that the interpersonal connection between, like, this priest and, like, the woman suffering from the exorcisms, and, like, why, he felt like he was doing the right thing and kind of giving these monsters a human face. Yeah, and it was less about, like, look at this scary stuff, look at this special effects, and
there's, like, an emotional piece to it that was, like, it was supposed to be meaningful. You can it wasn't just like,
it wasn't projectile vomiting and calling your mom a whore. It was, like, this poor girl you love,
and like, this is your child. Someone, like, this is an innocent girl who's, like, suffering. And, like, excruciating pain, and, like, making the sacrifice for people. And the fact that it's based on a real story. Like, that story was so interesting. I highly recommend looking it up. Look up Annalise. What was her last name?
Michelle.
Annalise Michelle. She was German. Her story is just really interesting, and if you ever listen to the footage of her, like, guttural screams, it's really disturbing, and I just highly recommend listening to it because it made me feel really uncomfortable and also made me kind of believe that demons are real. So I guess
listen to scares.
Annalise won because that's what she wanted.
She was going to win either way. Either she was going to get exorcised and the demons would be gone and she would be good, or she dies, but she painted this whole scenario where it was a good thing.
All the stuff I read on it was like she was gorging herself, she was trying to eat, but she died of like malnutrition, and it was just like, what is the real thing that happened? I'll never know.
The trick, yeah. And her speaking languages that she probably didn't know, and being Hitler and speaking in her.
The kitty. Run! Run, kitty! This is the South. He has guns. Go now. Ah! Jesus!
No, you're screaming.
Oh. I don't like it when bad things are in the house. You don't know where they are. No! Stop going so fast!
Why am I always sitting with my back towards the way?
Gabe, now I'm scared. I'm like actually scared. Why?
Sorry, it's probably just our house and we get paranoid. Or it's the ghost.
I don't want us to have a ghost, Gabe.
He's downstairs.
He can stay down there.
Did you have anything else to say about exorcisms that you learned?
Yeah, they're scary and I don't want them to be real because it'll ruin my life. But I also kind of like want to talk to somebody who's been exorcised.
All right.
Like, I kind of want them to like reach out.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this would be really interesting. Like, I was reading about it. I was like, I just want to know. I just want to know about this.
If you or someone you've known has been exorcised, tell them to shoot us an email at theGhoulsNextDoor at gmail.com.
I think I just like when I read about it. That's what I hear.
Tweet at us. Tweet at us about your exorcism. 140 characters. Was exorcised demons bad? Ow. Alright, we have to read it.
It's scary.
Blowing job?
Blowing
3
job.
o'clock. The devil's hour.
3 a.m.
Yeah.
Or blowing job?
Mm-hmm. Blowing job is good.
Would you like a blowing job?
Yeah, so it's would you like a blowing job?
How about a blowing job?
The devil's hour, 3 a.m.
Well, it's hard to, because it's like a real thing people do, so it's like hard to rate it.
I mean, we've rated ghosts. That's a real thing.
That's true.
We've rated nightmares. That's a real thing.
Well, I like rate it. Would you like a blowing job? Because it was scary as hell, and I don't want it to be real.
Yeah, I mean, the movies definitely are a blowing job.
Yeah.
It's the greatest sentence I've ever said in my life. They're definitely a blowing job because they were so good. You will know what it is if you watch The Last Exorcism. It's the girl. They realized that the girl wasn't possessed. Spoiler alert. At least at one point, you think she's not possessed because she says blowing job instead of blow job because she's a child. She doesn't know better. But a demon would know. Yeah. A demon would be like a blow job.
Yeah.
So either it's a teenage stupid demon, or it's a little girl who's trying to get some attention.
Yeah.
Or is it? So I'm saying it's blowing job for the films because both of them were very different, but they had somewhat similar approaches. One was based on a true story, one wasn't, but one was made like it was a true story. There's a lot. But I thought both of them were really good, and I'm glad we watched them and not The Exorcist.
Yeah. They weren't very hokey, and that's what I liked about them.
Yeah, they felt real. Even though it's a movie, they did feel real, and I think that's why I was genuinely scared. Like, I was absolutely terrified. As far as exorcisms themselves, like, nah, keep that away from me with the witching hour.
Yeah, 3 a.m., I better sleep.
There's just no winning with exorcisms, because either they're real and that means that there's demons which is just, that's bad news. That's bad news bears for you. Yeah, it's bad news bears if they exist. But it's also bad if they don't exist, because these people are still getting exorcised. So, like, there is no win. Like, either they're right and they're messed up, or they're wrong and they're getting messed up. Like, there's no winning. So I just can't, and it just absolutely stresses me out because it's just so bad. Everything about it is bad. It's like either someone is taking advantage of a very troubled person who is susceptible because of their religion and, like, their beliefs, or, like, God and Satan are real, and he's sending his little people to be inside you to mess you up, like, real hard, like. So I'm gonna go with a nah for no 3 a.m. waking up for me. Dude, what if we woke up at 3 a.m.?
Stop it. Shut your mouth.
If you wake up in the middle of the night, don't look at your phone to find out what time it is. Just don't.
I already told you. I was watching that movie and I said, Gabe, you know what I do when I hear weird shit or I wake up suddenly in the night? I go back the fuck to sleep.
Yeah.
I don't have curiosity. I'm not the person who gets up to check what's going on. I'm like, that's not real. We're going to ignore that. Go back to bed. And then I wake up and feel better. I mean, honestly, like, that's how I dealt with my childhood. Like, I used to have crazy-ass nightmares. And I would always wake up. And then that's when the weird shit would happen. So I'd learn. You just go back to sleep, and then you wake up in the actual morning, and you're fine.
And the exorcisms come.
Yeah, anything that was scary that was happening, it's done now. Because it wasn't fucking real. You just go back to sleep. That's the solution. You close your eyes hard enough, you will eventually fall asleep.
No.
Yes.
Doesn't work for everyone.
Well, I'm just saying.
Sorry for you. You're getting exercised.
No, it's if you wake up at 3 a.m. and something weird starts to happen, you smell burning or whatever, and there's no fucking fire, you just go back the fuck to sleep.
But you don't know if there's no fire.
I will just believe that there's not a fire if someone is not waking me up.
What if you have to wake me up?
We will both die. It's fine.
Oh, God, no.
We're both near doors. If we need to escape, we can.
We have all the exit strategies.
But I'm convinced that if there's something going on, you'll come get me.
Probably.
So, like, I'm not gonna investigate.
So
someone better not break and enter into your room, because if unless I hear screaming, I'm not getting up.
Why would you say that? I have to go in there.
Well,
in like 10 minutes. Alone.
I'll go in your room if you want.
God.
What? No, I would come rescue you, but I don't know.
Why are you putting that on me? Or you just breathe that into existence.
No, you said that I wasn't going to save you if I smelled fire. So all I'm saying is if I hear something and it's like you, I will come help.
And then you come in there and I'm all twitchy.
Stop! No, you're not! You will not be all twitchy. If you do that, I will walk out and I will just call 911 and I will
But then at the same time, someone's coming in the room to abduct me. What are you gonna do?
They're gonna let them abduct your twitchy ass. What are you doing? It's your problem now.
He's like, whoa, oh.
I don't think I need this.
What is she doing?
Like, fuck if I know.
You're like,
go kidnap the neighbors. I don't know.
Nah, she's like that. Like, you take her, please? I don't know what to do with that.
Well, I feel like if then he sees me and he's gonna be like, oh, you're normal, and I'll be like, nah, I'm twitchy too. What's up?
It's contagious. Get out.
I am suddenly also possessed.
So, what is it? Blowing job for you or what?
Yeah, blowing job.
Alright.
Unless it's real, then fuck that noise. Sounded very like honky.
Fuck
that.
Alright, yeah, I mean, I hope your kid doesn't get
no, I'm not having kids for that reason.
Possessed.
I know, I'm doing it.
Don't get married because your kids will get possessed.
And then you'll eat them.
And you have to leave them alone. You have to get rid of them. That's it.
No.
You gotta get rid of the whole kid.
Just new ones. Call Walmart.
All that work for nothing.
Don't get married, they'll eat your kids.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. Je m'appelle Demon.
Just speaking French?
Yeah, because it's a language that's a different language than the language I usually speak.
That's
as
true.
the Podest people do.
Okay.